Well, hi, and welcome to my shop here on December 20th. Oh my gosh, winter is just a day away. And what I'm going to be doing today is trying to get a little better grip on the distortion that's I can hear in the sound of this radio before going too much further with it. Got a couple ideas of how to sort of get a little better grip on the level of distortion. But first, let's take a look at this odd arrangement with the wire here. Now, the owner of this radio is a friend of mine, and he's been shooting me some emails. He commented that what happened here was he accidentally cut the original wire. Here it is here. And then he found, having accidentally cut it, and hey, we've all done these kinds of things. I've certainly cut the wrong wire or cut two wires when I mean to cut one. I mean, this stuff happens. When he went to put it back together, of course, there wasn't enough wire there to do it. So he put in a piece, this white piece, and then taped it up to try to secure it. Now, you know, odd to me, but not everybody has a shop like mine. And not everybody is surrounded by spare parts and things like that, like I am. I've been working on this for years and years, really all my life, and so I've really collected an excellent set of parts. It gives me many options. But I certainly come from the world of use what you got, and sometimes you just don't have what you need, and that happens still today for me in the shop here. From time to time, I just really don't have the ideal solution, so I have to do some kind of secondary solution. That's what we're seeing here. We're seeing the best effort put forward given the circumstances of my buddy, and when he did this years ago. So you know, it's not to be critical about anything anybody does. There is no right way or wrong way of doing this work. There's just ways of doing it. Everybody's got different levels of knowledge, different levels of equipment, different levels of parts, this and that. So we all just do our best, and hopefully we can keep, the objective is to keep the radio working so it stays alive and so it has a continued life into the future. And who knows, this radio may be around 100 years from now. And it's much more likely if it's working and in relatively good shape than if it's a dilapidated thing in the back of a garage. So anybody, you or whoever, is trying their best to do these things, it's double thumbs up for all that. So even if in the end the solution isn't, you know, perfect. And I'm certainly guilty of that. Oh, I shouldn't say guilty. No, the whole idea is we're not guilty. Not guilty. Not guilty. So I'm just going to fix this wire. It's nothing to it. I have some wire. I will just extend it from here right back to the terminal, put a shrink sleeve on it, and try to fish it down. He mentioned to me that this was close to the chassis. Originally it wasn't out hanging like this. So it was much closer to the chassis. I'll try to fish it down there. So on the sound coming from the speaker. So I have heard many a speaker now that has the kind of distorted sound that this speaker has. But you can't know if it's the speaker or if it's something going on in the radio without doing a little more investigation. Here we are, I don't have, you know, the best equipment to do this. I don't have a distortion meter. All I have are my eyes. Yeah, I also have a pair of ears, and they're hooked up to my brain, and that's my instrument, ears and brain working here. So I think what I'm going to try to do is feed a clean audio signal into the phono input back here and just hear what it sounds like when it comes out. Now, that's a bit of a problem in the sense that listening to tones like, you know, sine waves through a speaker like this may give a false impression as opposed to listening to a regular program from a radio station. But it's what I can do, so I'm going to do it. And we'll just see how it compares. Maybe I can put it on the scope, see if there's any evidence of weird, you know, shapes in the sound or things like that. Fool around on that level. If it's the speaker, there's probably not much I can do about it, really. And ultimately, if it's a speaker, what's going to happen is I'm going to end up replacing the remaining parts, do the alignment. It's still going to sound distorted, and I'm just going to have to conclude it's the speaker at that point. I have not tested the tubes in this radio. My buddy says he did back when, and the tubes are all good. They don't really have any good reason to think there's a sick tube in here right now. So we're going to leave that out for a while yet too. So let's set up for the tone test and see what it sounds like. Okay, so first thing I decided to do is I'm using this audio generator. First question, is the output from this distorted to begin with? So what you're hearing right now is coming out of a speaker that I know is not, or I believe, is not distorting anything, and it's fairly quiet. I'll turn it up a little bit. A little Morse code there. Okay, it's got a bit of a mind of its own today. That's a fairly pure sounding tone. Fairly. Maybe I'll even put this on my oscilloscope and take a peek at it. But I have looked at it before. It looks perfectly fine on an oscilloscope. Another option is to put it through a analyzer, a spectrum analyzer, and take a look at that. You know, that's not a bad idea. We could do that. By the way, the microphones and that part of the audio that you're listening to is all very, very good. So I don't expect that to introduce any kind of significant distortion. Just to clarify what a distorted signal sounds like, I'm going to flip this onto square wave, and we'll listen for a moment. Yeah, I think we're pretty familiar with that kind of sound. That's a kind of like overdriven sound. Guitar players love that stuff. But I think that sound we're hearing now is actually, to me, sounds really good. Pretty good. I think so. Yeah, I think it sounds fine. Tell you what, let's put it through an analyzer. Now, the analyzer is just some software on my computer here. It's going to be responding to the sound picked up by the microphone that you're listening to. So that's not exactly the best way to do it, but hey, that's all I got. So let's try that. We'll just see. Maybe we can look at it on the spectrum analyzer like it is now. And then I can run this right through this speaker without the radio operating, just right onto the speaker voice coils, and hear what this one sounds like and see what it sounds like. Well, that sounds almost scientific. Holy smokes. Let me get all that set up and going. Well, there it is. Okay, now the tone that you see here is not coming through microphones. Let me cut the microphone sound down to nothing. You can see it didn't go away, but the microphone sound. So we've got a combination here. You can see the effect of my voice quite clearly. So I see this. Now this is at 700 and about 700. So we look to 1400. I would say there's something right here. Let me turn up the speaker level here. So now there's clearly a second thing here. I'm going to turn down the microphones and see if it disappears. weird stuff going on here. How come my voice is still appearing there? I don't know. Too many knobs and controls. But I can tell I'm listening now to the sound on the video, same sound you're listening to. If I cut these mics off, for sure it all disappears. Okay, well, why my voice continues to be visible on the screen, I'm not exactly sure. Let me just check it again. I'm just going to go 1, 2, 3 with the mics off. Clearly. Okay, well, learn something new every day. So, now what is this? Is that second value there? You know what I can do here? Just one sec. There. I'm able to freeze it. It just stops at the last reading and it freezes when you click the off button up here. This piece of software, by the way, is called Visual Analyzer, and I'm sure it's way out of date. Handy piece of software. So, this is pretty sure to be a 1400 or just a double this. Where's it coming from? It's probably coming out of the signal generator that I'm using. Now, I'm really quite confused here about how this can be doing what it's doing. Because the only way for this sound to get into the computer is through a microphone. I mean, it's just a signal generator with a speaker on it. It's not hooked up in any way to my computer. Huh. How's this happening? One of the microphones might be on to one of the cameras. Well, you must have heard that saying, you learn something new every day. So I'm using a piece of software to create this video you're watching. And I attach the cameras I'm using to the software. There's a limit, so I can't have all my cameras attached all the time. So often I have a camera in here that's not being used. That's this one. So this one's not being used. Oh my gosh, it is being used. Jim, you're just losing complete control of everything. So, hang on 1 second here. Oh, okay, so things are the way I think they're now the way I thought they were before. So I'm using this camera and the one you're looking through right now. So if I switch to the one in my hand, there it is, you're looking through it. Of course, you can't see it because you're looking through it. And I have this other camera just sitting here. It's not being used right now, so it's not attached to the software I'm using to make this video. So I can talk into the microphone here all I like. Hello, 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 and you can't hear anything coming through the microphone on this camera. But even though that camera is not connected, it turns out, just sitting here, it is supplying audio to my computer. That audio is not making it into the video. I didn't realize it was even making it into the computer at all. But it is. So the only way to solve this for me, to get rid of this extra microphone, is to unplug it. Okay, I've unplugged it. Now, let's see. Let's look at that display again here. Okay, now that's my microphones you're listening to me with. Boy, this has gotten very confusing here. I'm going to shut them off and the whole thing should go down to... What is going on? It's still reacting. Oh my gosh. Well, it can't be this camera. I've disconnected it. Okay, got to continue the experiments here. Wow, am I ever off in the woods right off the bat on this video. Okay, let's give this a try. I'm going to shut the sound off and the line should go flat. Presto. Well, there's a lesson. There's a lesson for me. The two USB cameras I am using, the Microsoft cameras, are maintaining their microphone operation in the background even though it's not influencing this video recording. My last camera, the one you should be looking through. Let me switch that. I can't. This camera here, it doesn't do the same thing. This is a different make. This is a Logitech camera. So exactly why they're behaving differently, I don't know. Must be something inherent about Microsoft cameras, I don't know. Lesson learned. The microphones on these cameras are on in the background all the time. So I think it means nothing normally. I mean, I've been doing this for years. No idea this was happening until just now. Big discovery. I think the only thing it's really influencing is this chart that I've been trying to use. Okay, so now we're in a better position to try to analyze this thing. Okay, let's get back to where we were. Where were we? I only have one camera plugged in now. Okay, let's take a look at that sound. And look at that. The extra tone is gone. Perfect. Okay, wow. I could have gone off in search of something that doesn't exist. Oh my gosh, I've done this. I've used this piece of software before and have analyzed exactly what I'm doing now without realizing that these other microphones were still operating. Oh my gosh, well, here you go. You see, it just confirms my initial speech at the start of this video, that you do what you can with what you got and do your best, and there we go. Okay, so anyway, focus on what we're really trying to do. Well, that's pretty good then. No secondary, no harmonic signal. Now let me put it on square wave here. Okay, that's really, really distinct. And I'm going to ramp up the volume. Let me try some different microphones here. So you might be able to notice this is a stereo microphone feed you're hearing now, and then I'll switch to a mono microphone. Okay, at some point I'm going to get back to analyzing the radio. So it looks like there is a harmonic. Really no surprise there that there would be a harmonic. Now the next thing to think about in doing this kind of work is the way we hear sound. We don't hear sound for what it really is. There really is no such thing as sound, right? That's a creation through our biology, and it's a pretty common thing. Happens with almost every animal. Almost every animal can hear. So, but it is a creation inside our brains. I don't know about other animals, but we know, all of us know this, that there are certain combinations of sounds that we find pleasant. That's what music is. And then there's certain combinations of sounds that we find disturbing. So if you hit two keys on a piano that are side by side, the resulting sound is kind of ugly. But if you hit two keys spaced by one key, that sounds pleasant. Well, it's just sound, right? So it's our human experience of the sound that we're aware of. So that's another factor in using ears and brains to try to figure this stuff out. So I don't know which way it is. I think it's even harmonics sound pleasant and odd harmonics sound grating. And there was a lot of discussion around this with the vacuum tube sound versus the transistor sound, and people delve into this area and consider, the nature of the harmonics, and but it's very much our human hearing. But that's really not what I want to analyze. I don't want to analyze our human hearing. I want to analyze that speaker. So, assuming the speaker we're listening to is okay, then the sound we're seeing on the screen is okay. And then if I switch to the other speaker on the radio and attempt to play the generator sound through it, and it looks different, then we can assume that it's the speaker itself that's making the difference. So let's do all that. Oh my gosh, like so many things I set out to do this. Oh, this will be easy. This will be simple. Turns out, no. Okay, so we're still listening to the sound, but I'm going to disconnect from the speaker we've been listening to, and I'm going to attach it right to the voice coil of this speaker, still connected to its output transformer and the rest of the radio. And we'll just see what we get. See what we get and then think about it afterwards. I think that's probably the best way to do this. Too much pre-thinking is pretty much guesswork, isn't it? Really. Now, I gotta get at the voice coils here. I'm gonna tip the radio down. Of course, this test is somewhat invalidated by the fact that I've got the radio still the speaker still connected to the rest of the radio. But again, what can you do? Stop thinking, Jim. Just do it. Gonna make it. Oh, I don't hear anything. How come? I didn't hear a thing. Oh, because I'm hooking up the speaker to the speaker, not the signal to the speaker. Okay. Wow, my opening speech was really on the money today. Holy smokes. I hope you're getting a kick out of this and not finding it too disturbing. So why am I watching this video? This guy's got no clue. Okay. Now, there we go. Let's take a look at this on that software. Let me turn it down a little bit. Well, let me turn off my mics. I can't do that. I can't do that. What to think? Let me go back to the other one, and I won't change anything. I'll just move the wires. I'll let you look at the screen here while I do it. We'll just see the relative height of these guys. This guy's up at minus 24, and this guy's at minus 48. Well, that's good. 24 and 48. I think I can remember those. Okay, I'll go back on the speaker up above. It's louder. Well, there's a distinct difference. It's louder in my shop, not louder on the microphones. Because we were up at 24. Let me raise it up to 24. I'll raise this to 24. And we'll see what that other one does. You know, the really weird thing about this is when I reach my hand, let me turn it up just a little bit. But when I reach my hand across my bench to intercept the level control on the generator, the harmonic shows up without touching anything. Let me just try that. See if am I crazy? Here we go. My hand's here with me. Now I'm reaching. Back with me again. I'll just say reach and back. Reach and back. Reach and back. This is crazy. This is totally crazy stuff. Oh my gosh. It's also my position where I'm standing is doing this too. Oh man. Okay, I'm standing back. And I'm coming forward. You know, I'm running the headphones here. Is it not by some chance is the microphone picking up my headphones? That's going to generate feedback if I do that enough. Well, I don't know what to think. Holy smokes. This was supposed to be a simple, straightforward thing. But you know, nothing is straightforward in nature. And, oh my gosh. So what did we find out here about this speaker? I don't know what to think. I think just listening is better than trying to use an instrument or use a piece of software like this. We'll try a different frequency. Yeah, there we go. More complications. That's what we need. We need to make this even more complicated. So we'll go low, fairly low, then we'll go fairly high. We'll just see what happens here. We're on the shop speaker, which is my standard speaker. I'll keep my arm here and I will not move during this. Let me turn up a little higher. That's burning my ears out for sure. Well, I'm going to take a wild guess. That's what's happening is it's not really a wild guess. I'm changing the room dynamics in here by moving myself around. I have this great sound absorbent piece of clothing on, and I'm waving my arm around pretty close to the microphone here. Where is it? There it is. There it is, up there. Let me give you a better view of where the microphone is. That's where the microphone is. So it's about the height of my forehead when I'm standing in here. Kind of central all around. That's one microphone. There's another one. There's another one going over here by my computer screen, hanging right there. That's the one that picks up my voice mostly when I'm facing my computer screen. Wow. Okay, the situation's become very complicated. This has to be why. In a laboratory environment, there's always an anechoic chamber, a soundless chamber, or no reflective sound chamber, and these tests are done in this chamber. Of course, there's nothing on Earth like that except those chambers. So what those really reveal in terms of what you hear out in nature may be a little different, but that's why they must do it, because there's no escaping all these side effects. Yeah, side effects, that's a good word for it, when doing this kind of thing. And I've known for a long time that, and you must know this too, that the quality of your stereo depends upon where your head is. So you're playing your stereo in your room, and if you stick your head in the corner, you hear thumpy bass, and if you stick your head somewhere else, the sound sounds a little different. It just depends where you stick your head, and that's all about reflections and absorption and everything complicated like you can't believe. You know, when you really think about it, it is amazing that our brains can process sound the way it does. It is just amazing. I mean, think about this for a minute. What have we got in our ears? So we've got two diaphragms, right? Our eardrums, two diaphragms. And let's just consider one for a minute. This diaphragm can only be in one place at one time. If you hit it with 6 different sounds, it isn't in 6 different places. It's in one place. Its movement becomes extraordinarily complex, right? Because we know all that stuff about adding the waves together and that. And then that sound is transmitted through a couple of bones and into your cochlear, which is a complex structure, that coiled thing, and you've got hairs in there, and if you read up on this, you'll be blown away about how complicated that is. That is unbelievable what is going on in there. And then somehow it parses out this single position of your drum somehow, so that you can perceive or process, create or imagine in your brain the sound. It's not just that you can hear, realize that there's 2 different tones going, but you can tell where it's coming from, right? I just love sitting outside. I close in the summer, I don't do this now, I close my eyes, I listen to the sounds, and I can hear not only what direction they are, I can hear whether they're high or low in the sky, I can hear how far away they are. I can perceive this. You get a whole 3-dimensional map of the sound from 2 eardrums that can only be in one position at a time. To me, this is just beyond belief. It's beyond belief that we can do this and create this sound, this thing we call sound. We live with it all our lives. We take it all for granted. We're not the only ones. Lots of animals have ears. In fact, they pretty much all have ears to do this. It's stunning to me. And all this also is processed in real time, or at least our perception of it is that it's being processed in real time. So it really can't be, can it? It really can't be. And that's another whole discussion that I'm not going to get into, which is how your brain handles its own processing delay. That's another shockingly unbelievable thing. And if you take all these ideas about sound and just throw it in terms of vision, it's all the same. There is no light. You don't see over there. That's not what happens. Your brain gives you the ability, or creates a image in your head, so you think you're seeing over there. But what's really happening is the light from over there is striking the back of your eye. That's the seeing in the back of your eye. It's not over there. Wow. So we walk around in a silent world, in a dark world with no light. Well, there is light, but this image thing is a creation of our brains, because we look through 2 little tiny holes in our eyes, and we're able to do all this. I get floored, so I'm happy to share my flooring with you. Now what about the speaker? I don't know what to think now. What to think? I think the right thing to think is I don't know what to think. I think that's the right thing to think right now. I don't think we proved anything here about this speaker. When I listened to it, it didn't sound really any different than the other one we were listening to. I didn't do the high and the lows. Let's do the high and the lows. And then, I don't know, am I going to get any further in this video? Oh my gosh, I just think... Hey, you know, this is what fun looks like when you're having fun doing this stuff. I love the discovery. This exact moment here, all these things that have happened, I love all this. To me, this is the excitement of life, is having your eyes open, or having your ears open. Okay, we're on here. So I'll do the frequency thing. See what happens here. You can still see it on the screen. I feel like I'm in Star Trek. Well, my impression, based on my brain power and my ears, is that this speaker works the same as the other speaker. The speaker is not distorted. Distortion, if I'm hearing real distortion coming out of here, well, that's where we're going next. Are we hearing real distortion coming out of here? That's where we're going next, but I gotta go make some coffee and settle myself down. I got too excited here. Too excited. Hey. Okay, believe it or not, my old cat Peanut has just demanded to go outside. So he's outside. It's about -3 or 4 out. Snow everywhere. Okay, so this is the phono input to the radio. Let's get it going here. There it comes. Good. For a minute there I thought the radio wasn't working. I will dial the pointer all the way to the far end and it'll cut off the radio. There we go. Quite the hum in there. Could be from these. Think so. Hook this up to the signal generator. That's from years of experience. I'm sure if you do this stuff, you do things like that too. Here we go. Now, we can still see the result on the frequency display. Quite sure why it's so noisy like that. Let's give it a little signal. Well, that sounds lovely to me. Oh my gosh, I'd say it sounds better than the shop speaker. And what's it show? See all these down here. But I suspect it's the hum. Let's just see what the hum looks like. Of course, the hum is stronger when I have more wire connected to this. Well, I think, you know, given all that, that's a pretty strong demonstration that the speaker is working fine, and that any distortion that I think I'm hearing is really coming from the radio. Let's play the radio again. Hear that noise? It sounds like engine noise. Of course, I don't think it's engine noise, but it certainly sounds like it. What causes that particular sound, which I hear in my shop all the time, I have no idea. I have gone on hunts for it. It has a weird characteristic. Its level goes up and down, but the speed of the clicking goes up and down. And towards the end of its time on here, half an hour, 2 hours from now, whenever, it's going to quit. The clicking will just slow down, click, 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 only take much longer, and finally just click, click, and be gone. What in heaven's name is that? My wild guess is it's a static electricity discharge of some sort. It's very dry out, of course, because it's the winter. It's below freezing outside. I better go get my cat. Just another interesting sound thing that's going on here. Okay, so I think we managed to prove quite clearly that, and I could, when I listen to that radio station, to me it sounds muffled, distorted. It's also kind of weak too, which makes it all tough. So I think there's something going on in the radio that's causing distortion, not the speaker. That was my purpose, was to determine if the speaker was the cause of the distortion. So, okay, I think I've probably reached the time limit here. I like to shoot for around an hour on these videos, but as you must realize, there's nothing scripted here. Everything is essentially happening live in front of you. I certainly had no idea what was going to happen today when I came in here. I guess I really don't know what's going to happen when I leave my shop either. Anyway, thanks for watching, and tomorrow I'll actually try to do something to the radio to affect what I believe is some distorted sound there. Maybe come up with more tests. Maybe get even more confused. Fantastic. See you tomorrow.